All right, folks, if you're just now tuning in, we are going live with severe weather coverage at this hour. See if the audio is working here real quick. I apologize for that. All right, so what we're dealing with here is we have a possible tornado occurring just to the west of the community of Poolville in Springtown. Now, if you downloaded our free weather 225 mobile app, before we went live, we sent out a push notification that we believed a tornado was occurring near Pine Road, Lone Star Road, and just west of the community of Poolville. So if your apps went off this morning, here's the reason why. Again, we're starting off pretty early this morning. Here's a look. Here's a live look at our NextRad Doppler radar that we're scanning here. Every couple of seconds, you'll see a new scan coming in. But right here is what we've got going on, and this looks to be a fairly nasty storm. But I want to go to reflectivity, and one of the reasons we knew that this was going to potentially create a tornado is when you get this line of storms, and I'll go to the little telestration tool here. When you have a line of storms, instead of it going directly north to south, or it starts bowing out, if you will, like this. Once you get a segment that goes directly from northwest to southeast, that's when your greatest tornado potential begins to occur. And right now, we still have that area northwest to southeast with that tornado potential. And right now, that is in Parker and Wise counties. I do want to point out right now, if you are just south of Runaway Bay, if you're near Bridgeport and Decatur, this is going to be our next potential tornado potential right here in this area that you see here where these reds and greens are coming together. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if the National Weather Service went ahead and issued a new warning for that portion of the storm. So we've got this going on. I am concerned for these two areas that we have right here, so make sure that you are staying tuned. The National Weather Service is going to continue that tornado warning in effect for Parker and Wise counties in effect until 5:30 in the morning. So it's an early start to the morning. Thank you for tuning in with us if you are watching. But this is definitely a dangerous storm and a dangerous segment of storms. Now, when we're talking tornado risk, this is not going to be the tornado risk that you see with supercell activity, where that's the activity that you have the discrete storm and a long-term tornado threat for a period of time. The difference is this is a QLCS tornado risk, meaning that these are little tiny, very quickly forming embedded spin-ups. They'll be on radar for a split second, and then the next scan they're potentially completely gone. So when we see these segments where they quickly spin up, we have to cover these because you never know, a warning may not be out in time for some of these. So by the time that we sent out that notification, it wasn't alerted, but the National Weather Service did a fantastic job issuing that tornado warning pretty much immediately. So we're watching this here very carefully. I do want to zoom back in on these two communities. Still concerned for that segment just south of Runaway Bay. We just want to do our due diligence, but let me show you real quick one more time. There we go. Here's the button. This area right here where you see these little reds and greens coming together, and these little areas right here, and then this area just along the county line, just to the northwest of Springtown and just to the north of Poolville. This is going to be where we're watching for the next potential embedded spin up. So we need to be watching these very carefully because, like we said, this is not the typical, supercell thunderstorm activity where you get an area of rotation that you can watch and monitor for a longer period of time. This is going to be a quick spin up. And I tell you what, as we were looking back just a few moments ago, I'll put this back into motion and show you. Right before it was warned, I do believe we may have had a tornado at one point, and I'll go to our road mapping tools here. I do think that there may have been a tornado near Ballard Road just a little bit ago. In fact, let me put on the timestamp just to see when that was. That was at 4:52 a.m. So We called it out here on the app, and then we're going into live coverage. And as you can see, that area of rotation sparked that warning, but we're still dealing with potential spin up tornadoes here as well. Also, not to overlook what is happening for the rest of the area with these severe thunderstorm watches and warnings in effect. A new severe thunderstorm watch was just added, and that is for a large portion of the area until 9 o'clock this morning. That includes the DFW area. And then we also have these severe thunderstorm warnings in Parker County. This is just south of that initial tornado warning, all the way down into Hood County. And this is for observed 65 mile per hour winds. Now, we're seeing observed 65 mile per hour winds, but I also want to point out there is also a lot of potentially 70 mile per hour winds as well with this line of storm. So if you're in Weatherford, let's sample some of these for you real quick, just south of you. In fact, actually, we're going to have to wait a minute because there's the live beam coming in. You're seeing it firsthand. This is our live scan NextRad Doppler radar. It updates with each scan, and you actually get to see when the new updates come in. So it's a really helpful tool that we have here at Weather 225. So let's go back to, and there it is. All right, folks. So if you live on, let's get these roads put up there. If you live in any of these roads that I'm going to be calling out in Wise County, Carpenter Road, and see if we can get this one to pick up, County Road 3552. If you live in these areas, there might be a spin up trying to occur where we see this little area that we're going to have to be paying very close attention to right here. And this is on the Wise County side that we're watching this. So Carpenter Road and County Road 3552. If you know any of these communities that I'm calling out or these roads, you're going to need to seek shelter here. I do believe that might be an embedded spin up trying to occur. So let's zoom out real quick. Let's clear off some of these roads. That's going to be the new area that I believe that we're going to have to be watching. So it's not quite in the tornado warning, but it's just south of Bridgeport and Lake Bridgeport, where we're seeing those reds and those greens coming together. Another area is approaching the community of Boyd and Fairview. It's not tight. It's not right up against each other, but it's something that we need to be watching just because we have had these two segments. And while this is not a tornado outbreak type of warning or anything like that, well, like I said, when you get these little segments that have these spin-ups, they're very quick. It's not like a supercell where you get to watch this kind of prolonged and you get to see it every couple of scans weaken or strengthen. These are going to be every time the radar scans, every couple of minutes, every 2 to 5 minutes, depending on the mode it's in. You're going to see it in one scan. The next scan, it's completely gone. These things may be there for 30 seconds. They may be there for 3 minutes. So it's just one of those things. You have to be keeping a very, very close eye on it. And I do believe that there might be a potential spin up trying to occur in both of these areas. New severe thunderstorm warning was just issued. This is for Tarrant County, and this is in effect until, I believe, 6:15, and it is for 65 mile per hour winds. So very intense winds are moving into the Metroplex this morning. If you're just now waking up and you're wondering what's going on, intense severe thunderstorms are moving into the area with 65 to 70 mile per hour winds. And we even have 2 potential areas of rotation that we're going to have to be watching there as well. Severe weather is moving into the Metroplex. We've been up almost all night watching this, and as you can see, here comes the new scan here in just a second. It's going to sweep through. We've been watching this, and like we mentioned a second ago, we're not trying to push this as just a regular app that you get here in the area. We sent out an alert when we thought that there was a tornado occurring before there was even a warning. So make sure that you download that free Weather 225 mobile app for some of the latest and best information you're going to get out there here locally, in our opinion. So let's go back to the reflectivity here real quick and just show you. And like we said, one of the reasons we knew that this was going to create a tornado potential is notice how the segment just to the north is not like the other parts of the storm to the south. As you can see, I'm going to load up this tool that we have here real quick. This part of the line down here to the south is almost just straight north to south. You can tell that there is damaging wind that could be occurring with it, but notice that there's this portion of the storm to the north that's going directly from the northwest to the southeast, kind of bowing out. When you get these little segments within a thunderstorm that go directly northwest to southeast, that is where the greatest tornado potential is going to occur. So we're watching that area just to do our due diligence. Let's go to the reflectivity. And we are going to need to watch this area that looks like it's trying to do the same thing just to the north of Granbury. So not to scare you or say that there's an immediate threat in the Granbury area, but Hood County, there's this segment that looks like it's trying to get into the same mode here, if you will, where those storms are going to try and go into that segment northwest to southeast. So that's something to watch there. Potential rotation still to the north here, and that's going to be approaching the community of Boyd. So if you're in Boyd, make sure that you're seeking shelter just to be safe. Still watching that area south of Bridgeport. I do believe that if this continues, that might be an additional warning issued there. But we can give. I'm not quite sure why Poolville is not loading on this one, but Poolville, if you're listening, you are in the clear. Right now, that warning has been shaved, and the actual rotation area is well off to the northeast of you right now. So we've got this. Got a lot already running and gunning. It's 5:15 in the morning. And yeah, there's the new scan. And as you can see, notice how the little rotation areas just quickly kind of went away in some spots. Like we said, it's just one of those things you have to watch very closely, just because the storms will be there on radar 1 minute and then they will be completely gone the next scan. So the new severe thunderstorm warning for Tarrant County is in effect until 6:15. We're going to send out a little alert here real quick. And we're also going to see if we can get the app streaming up. So we are currently out of town, but we brought a portable streaming system here with us. Or we're back in North Texas, but our system isn't with us where we're at right now. So the main live channel is not on, but we are definitely keeping a very close eye on this storm with these. The National Weather Service issued, that is for, so we're going to be watching. It looks like they may have chosen to go with a new warning for this, and it's going to be more of a severe thunderstorm warning just because those rotation areas, looks like the National Weather Service is going with a new warning just because the rotation area appears to have weakened. Trying to see what they're trying to do here. And notice there's another one just to the southeast of Bridgeport. We want to cover this, so here we have the timestamp up. I'm gonna actually move this down so we can show you timestamp up. I do believe that that's another potential area of rotation trying to get going just to the southeast of Bridgeport. So notice how these things come up really quickly. If you're just now tuning in with us and you're wondering what's happening, or you're wondering where the tornado threat is because it keeps moving around, these are little what we call QLCS tornadoes. They're embedded tornadoes that fire up very quickly, and sometimes the radar might miss it if the radar is updating every 3 to 5 minutes. Now the radar is updating fairly quick this morning, but we're seeing these little areas of rotation kind come up very quickly. So that's why we're staying vigilant with these. I'm gonna send out a little notification here for that new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for the metro area in Tarrant County. So we will send out that notification, and then we also behind the scenes just connected the Facebook Live to the app. So hopefully we can get some people in the storm's path aware of these storms as they're moving into the area. So let's go back, and I'm going to highlight this area right here, and we're also going to go to our road labeling tool. County Road 3241 is where that rotation is currently sitting. It's approaching, I think that's Busey Boulevard. It's just to the north of County Road 3395, and it is approaching County Road 3170 and County Road 4010. So again, these things come up very quickly. We have to be just watching these little areas of rotation where we get the reds and greens coming together. We have to cover those just because if we do have a spin up tornado, we want to make sure that we cover it. And here's just another example of where we have some of those reds and greens coming together in a couplet, if you will. So we're keeping a close eye on this. Currently, no tornado warning for this part of the storm. But like we said, we're just going to be doing our best to try and cover all of these just to make sure we don't miss a potential spin-up tornado if one were to occur. Issue severe thunderstorm warning for Johnson, Parker, Somerville, and Tarrant. And I do believe that they put a tornado possible tag on that. So, and notice new scan just came in, and there's a few little areas that we're watching. No distinct tornado risk in any of those areas. Still a little bit of rotation just along the leading edge, so we're going to be watching that. I do want to go back to the Tarrant County storm and see, is this the one? Okay, so it is the Wise County storm. They put a tornado possible tag on that and not the Tarrant County storm. So let's go back to the reflectivity. And if you're just now tuning in with us, thank you for tuning in. We know it's very early in the morning. A lot of people are getting ready for the commute. Make sure that before you head out this morning, you have a way to receive alerts. Okay, cool. Looks like our stream may have buffered there just for a second. So, like we said, before you get on the road this morning, make sure you have a way to receive alerts just so you stay updated and ahead of the storms. Also going to be looking at some of the additional information. I need to get the Twitter feed kind of booted up here to see. I'm not expecting any sort of photos of these things. In fact, don't go out this morning and try and actually look at these. It's going to be very dangerous because, like I said, these are little quick spin-ups. They're not going to be the long-term spin-ups that you get to track for kind of a longer period of time. And in addition to that, there's very heavy rain with these. So let's actually go back to the velocity. And so far, there's a few little sloppy areas of rotation. There is a little area of rotation currently just around the community of Decatur. It's not strong or intense necessarily. It's something to watch. National Weather Service just issued for Grayson, Wise, Cook, and Denton counties severe thunderstorm warning, and that is for the potential for 65-mile-per-hour winds. So, like we said, it's a busy start to the morning, so make sure that you are watching closely these storms as you head to the morning commute here over the next couple of hours. So, currently 5:23 a.m. We've been covering potentially a couple of spin-up tornadoes, which may have occurred in some of our western counties. Good news, speaking of that tornado warning, there's a lot of information coming in here. I apologize for that, folks. I'm going to turn that down. Tornado warning was canceled, so it's going to drop off here very quickly. But we do have that new severe thunderstorm warning in effect, and that is for Denton, Cook, Wise, and Grayson counties, and that is in effect until 6:15 this morning. So, like we said, a lot this morning so far, but we're tracking it here with you live on our Facebook. So, thank you once again to everyone for tuning in to our live coverage. So, let's send out that notification here real quick. For that severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, so that is aligned with the one that is further to the south in Tarrant County, and that one is in effect until 6:15 as well. So all right, so that notification was just sent out. It should be hitting your phones here shortly. So, apologize for the little quiet moment there just a second ago, sending this notification out to the app users. And once again, if you are tuning in this morning, thank you for watching. So, no tornado warning. That tornado warning was dropped. Not quite sure why the system is not getting rid of that. So that will disappear here shortly. So, like we said, crazy morning. A couple of potential tornadoes. No confirmed video or damage reports, but we're keeping a very close eye on the potential for any damage reports coming into the wire here. But so far, it's some good news. We haven't seen any sort of reports now of any damage from that just a little bit ago. If you're tuning in now, just because we see there's a lot more viewers now, and you're wondering what you're looking at, we're scanning with the velocity areas of potential rotation. In fact, here comes our new radar sweep now, and this is one of the coolest features that we have here at Weather 225. In my opinion, we have the live sweep radar that updates and shows you the new scan as it comes in. And right now we are between scans. There goes the rest of the scan there. And still kind of watching this little segment to the north. In fact, I'm going to go back to, don't know why the radar did that. There we go. So I'm going to actually use some of the telestration tools here again. The reason we're watching this part of the line and not the others is notice how this segment kind of bows out and it goes from the northwest to the southeast. And it's still kind of doing that. When you get these segments with a line of storms that go from the northwest to the southeast, those are going to be the ones with the greatest tornado potential. And back when this was closer to Poolville, in parts of Parker County into Wise County, this segment was doing the same thing, and it had a very quick and very tight rotation occur with it. And so we know that we keep mentioning the app a lot, but we think we have one of the best apps because we sent out an alert before there was even a warning that there may have been a tornado near the Poolville area. So that's why we encourage you to download these. Whenever we see anything with the radar, we immediately send out that push notification to try and give you as much advance warning as possible. So let's kind of check out this segment. We'll go up and down. Basically, still watching a few broad areas of rotation, but no immediate tornado threat. For anyone to the south, we know there's some gusty winds kind of there as well. We're sampling between 50 and 60. So hopefully, because we are closer to the radar, where you see this little dot right here north of Burleson, that's our radar icon, and that's showing you where the radar is scanning from. So that's where we've got that. Okay, there's that notification that just came in on our app. Like we said, make sure that you download that free Weather 225 mobile app for these push alerts. When we're doing coverage like this, we can't post the actual screenshot and manage the live coverage in the app all at the same time. So we encourage that you download that for these alerts. So let's see. That one canceled the Hood and Somerville portion of that severe thunderstorm warning. So that's some good news there. All right, so don't really know why, but we're having trouble with this posting on the app. So we're gonna try and fix that so we can get the Facebook Live up and running on the app. Someone brought that to our attention. Thank you for letting us know. See, what was that latest? Getting a bunch of information here, kind of all at once. In fact, I'm going to go back to the radar, and we're going to go to reflectivity. And okay, I actually want to do manual storm track. This is another cool thing that we like to have. Storm motion is east northeast at around 53, so we'll go a couple miles faster at 56. So here's a look at the current times of arrival for these storms. In fact, I want to kind of align that more with our banner here. So it'll be at Fort Worth at 5:45. So that's in the next couple minutes or so, at least maybe 10 to 12 minutes. So we've got that. And then Irving at 6:06, Dallas at 6:15, and then if it eventually holds together at the exact same strength, it would be in the Mesquite area around 6:27 or so. So that's a look at what we've got going on there. All right, so Facebook Live is up there. That's some good news. Apologize. Gonna grab a glass of water here real quick. Oh, there's no immediate tornado warning or anything like that. We'll also be looking at some of the chats potentially coming in here as well if you have any sort of comments or questions. Okay, so right now it doesn't look like there's any sort of comments or questions, so that's some good news there. I'm gonna take off the times of arrival here, and we'll get back into the coverage that we were doing here. So let's go back to the velocity. And let's go back to the north into the Decatur area. So far, don't really see any sort of rotation. There's a few kind of sloppy areas of maybe elevated rotation, but I don't see an immediate tornado threat like we did with some of those other areas, so that's some very good news there. And I'm not quite sure if y'all could hear that on the microphone, but there was a very, very loud and long rumble here just a second ago as lightning's moving into the Metroplex. So we're based out of Irving. So we're going to see this here in the next about hour or half hour to hour here in the Metroplex. Okay, so that notification was just sent out. Let's actually, because I know that others are hearing the lightning in the metro as well, let's show you where that is all located. And a bunch of new reports just coming in here as well. Let's actually check those out. Trailer home overturned. 2 people are trapped inside at Lone Star Road just west of Poolville. Yeah, and I'm gonna say this again. We don't want to sound too boastful about our app, but if you downloaded the free Weather 225 mobile app, we were the first ones and the only ones, I guarantee you, with any sort of notification that was sent out before the warning was issued. This is why this is critical. Go ahead and check out that app. We sent out that notification before there was even a warning that we thought a tornado was occurring in the community of Poolville. And this is why it's critical, and we think this is why we think that we have the best mobile app in the region. Someone just asked, is there any sort of confirmed touchdowns? Right now, there's not a whole lot of confirmations, but I do believe just because we have a couple of overturned trailer homes in the area of County Road 4950 and Lone Star Road just west of Poolville, that was probably a tornado. There's not any sort of widespread wind damage in this area, and or at least as it looks right now. So I believe that may have been a tornado, and that's why we're saying this why we're highly encouraging that everyone downloads the free Weather 225 mobile app, just because we had that before there was even a warning sent out. And that very well have been a tornado, and that was 14 to the County Road 4950 Lone Star Road. And in fact, I think we actually had that road actually labeled as well with that as well. All right, so not quite sure why that scan didn't fully load. It's a little bit weird. We'll go back to Okay, here comes the rest of that scan. I guess it just took a minute to kind of process the data. So Tarrant County, actually I'm going to go to a second radar source. This one has all of our lightning with it and our reports. So let's go to this one real quick. Here we go. Here's our second source. Look at all this lightning. Not quite sure why all of that's loaded on there. Apologize for that. But yeah, notice all this lightning with this storm. So this is a very electrical line of storms. moving into the metro area in addition to the 60 to 65 mile per hour winds. So if you're outdoors, just make sure that you seek shelter indoors before the system moves in. I also want to show you, again, I'm not really sure why none of these maps are showing the Poolville area. That's very weird. We're going to have to go in there and fix that. But here's the report, and as you can see, this was just to the west of Springtown, that there's 2 people currently trapped. And, of course, we hope that they are all right. We hope that they're not hurt. And we hope that they're able to get to them and help them in a timely manner down there. And hope that there's no injuries to the people who are trapped in that flipped mobile home. Getting a lot more thunder here in the Metroplex, so right now there's not a whole lot to talk about. That segment, really, it's arching out. That one might have some of the more intense winds in addition to that rotation threat that we saw here just a second ago, but that might start to actually gust out more with the straight line damaging wind threat, just because as you notice, it's no longer really the northwest to southeast. It's starting to bow out, so that might be some intense 60 to 65 mile per hour winds moving into the community of Denton. So we're going to go back to reflectivity. Fortunately, it is 5:40 this morning, and we do not have any tornado warnings or immediate tornado threats like what we saw here just a second ago. And like we said, this is not going to be a widespread tornadic outbreak type event or anything like that. The National Weather Service actually didn't really mention a tornado threat with this watch when it was issued. But of course, Mother Nature is unpredictable, and we have had potentially a couple of touchdowns this morning. We had a few areas that I think are going to be confirmed tornadoes, and the reason for that is how quickly they spun up and just how strong they were with the radar. And at least in my experience with QLCS tornadoes in both of our coverage markets in Northwest Arkansas and in DFW, the last couple of events where we had these quick spin ups with that kind of signature, there were some confirmed tornadoes, and we have that damage report, of course, that just came out of Parker County, and I do believe that that might be from a potential tornado. Again, there's no confirmed photos or anything like that of this, but unfortunately, with the line of storms, the heavy rainfall, and just how quickly these things form, you're probably not going to get a photo or video of these. In fact, don't even think about trying to get a photo or video of these storms, just because it is extremely dangerous to do so. Just make sure that you're seeking shelter whenever a warning is issued. Let me see if I can actually load. Okay. Yeah, I forgot. I can actually load in the storm reports here. In fact, there's quite a bit of reports. In fact, I'm going to go back to the second. Here we go. So here's another source, and this is right over Lone Star Road, just to show you. And the report itself was located. So here's Lone Star Road, and it is between Lone Tower Lane and Leech Road and Advance Road. So I don't know if this will go that far back. Okay, it will. We're going to go back to the velocity real quick and see when this moved through. Not really sure why that's not fully loading. I guess it's going to need a minute to load. Or it doesn't go that far. Okay, it doesn't actually go that far, I don't believe. Yeah, but you could see where that rotation was. So unfortunately, the radar's not going that far back. So let's go back here. Fire department is reporting thunderstorm wind damage. Highway 199 near Wise Parker County line shut down due to power lines across the road. Overturned RV was reported near this location as well. So this was right in that area where we saw that rotation. And I think we're going to see a confirmed tornado with this at some point when they do a damage survey. But just right in that area, if I can get the radar to reload back. In fact, actually, that was the area that if you're watching live just a little bit ago with us when we first were on, that was the area almost outside of the warning that we said we think was a potential second tornado. So you heard it here, folks. You heard it here first on Weather 225. We were covering these things, and yeah, we had it here first. So, Leslie, the app that we're talking about, this is our free Weather 225 mobile app. So just go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, depending on which phone you have. It is free. Just search Weather 225 in the App Store, and you'll find it there. The logo is going to be exactly like the one for our profile photo with the DFW or with the Weather 225, and then there's a little radar image behind it. In fact, actually, here I will just drop the link to it. I forgot I could do that in the comments. Here we go. No problem. So let's go back to this. And like we said, there's not really any sort of area that's sticking out like it did just a little bit ago. Oh, did the Fort Worth site just go down? Well, that wouldn't be good. Let's... Okay, let's go back to our second source. I'm not sure if the actual radar site is down or if it's the program. So we're going to go to this one here temporarily and see. It says the next update will be here in the next minute or so. So if it doesn't then we'll switch over to our Dallas terminal Doppler. 70 mile per hour winds were reported in Decatur. And, you know, like we were saying just a second ago, the segment looked like it was going to start bowing out and being more of a damaging straight line wind gust threat. And that may continue to be the case here moving into the Denton area shortly. So if you're in Denton, Crum, Sanger, Ponder, Justin, you're going to get some nasty winds here in the next little bit. In fact, let's actually go to the terminal Doppler for the Dallas Love Field radar, since it's a little closer, and let's check out some of these winds. Sampling from behind the scenes. It's not, this program is not as fancy as the other one with the presentation that you can see on screen. But around Ponder, at least from this one, yeah, we're getting some 60 mile per hour winds. 70 doesn't look like it's quite the 70 mile per hour range, but we are looking at this not as closely, but there still may be a few gusts here or there of up to 70 at times. So just to be completely safe, make sure that you're seeking shelter indoors and away from windows. Let's go back to the reflectivity. And as you can see, it's more of a bow now than it was at northwest to southeast. that we had here just a little bit ago. So also checking behind the scenes here. So if I get quiet, we're watching some of these reports coming in. Okay, so that 71 mile per hour wind gust in Decatur was reported from a personal weather station. Another report for the shut down lanes. Um, Highway 199, the highway there shut down for power lines across the road. I tell you, there may be a few confirmed tornadoes that were very brief in parts of Parker and Wise County. And like we said, if you're just now tuning in and you were wondering kind of what happened, these are what we call QLCS tornadoes. They're very quick spin ups, and when you get these, they're not like your supercell storm that you get to watch and see kind of evolve. As every scan comes in, it may be there 1 second and then it lasts for 30 seconds and then it's completely gone. And usually, one of the leading indicators that a segment's going to produce a tornado is when it goes from the northwest to the southeast. And when you see that, that is an indication that the line may start to form a tornadic risk. When this was back in Poolville, in Parker and Wise County, this segment kind of broke off and was northwest to southeast. And once it started doing that, immediately after, it very quickly ramped up. There was an immediate tornado threat before there was even a warning. The warning was issued quickly by the National Weather Service, so great job by them noticing that very quickly and getting that warning out as soon as they could. And we may have had a couple of tornadoes here in parts of Wise and Parker counties here just a little bit ago. So this is unfortunate, and this is the danger of these overnight early morning storms. And we hope that these people are okay. There's another trailer home overturned. This one's in Mineral Wells, and this is at County Road 2525, Bounty Road, and southwest of Witt. 3 people are unfortunately trapped in a flipped and damaged mobile home right now, and that is in Parker County. So, like we said, we hope that those people are all right. But again, this is the problem with these nocturnal and early morning hour storms is people are asleep. They're just trying to get ready for the next day. And then unfortunately, these storms roll through and create kind of problems there. And as you can see, all these reports, I believe this is a new one. Oh yeah, these are all in the same area where we saw that potential tornado just a short time ago. In fact, we'll line this back up if we can. Not quite sure why. And this was all almost in the exact same area, so we're gonna have to load in that archive data later on and kind of align that with where those damaged pockets are being reported. So again, this is formed into pretty much a solid line rather than the northwest to southeast segment. So that's some good news there. There may not be an immediate tornado threat with this as that continues to be more of a solid line. We'll still be watching for some of these potential embedded spin up areas, but now this is more of a solid direct line and not the northwest to southeast segments like we saw. This is definitely going to transition over to more of maybe a 65, 70 mile per hour straight line wind event. So, let's not a whole lot to talk about, but that's some good news there. Um, Lisa reports a light shower and some thunder in the Little Elm area now. Yeah, and the that is the case here in Irving as well. We're getting just some light rain. I'm looking out my window now. It's just a light shower right now. Definitely getting some thunder. This is a very electric system. If you're in that area, we can scan the radar real quick and kind of sample some of these winds. Definitely get ready for some potential 60 mile per hour winds, maybe 65 with some gusts moving into that area shortly. And that's actually going to be the same case for New Hope, Corinth, Highland Village, Louisville, Grapevine, Irving, Euless, and Carrollton. So behind the scenes, also trying to get this second radar, or more fancy radar product, if you will, up and running. I'm not really sure why it's saying that the Fort Worth radar site is down, because I do not think that is correct, because the other site is on. But I think maybe the data that this system has access to might be the problem. So the server it's going through might actually be the issue there. Let's see. All right, so the good news is the severe thunderstorm warning for Denton, Cook, Grayson, and just that very, very extreme eastern and southeastern portions of Wise County. That one's been updated, and I do believe maybe they'll start to remove the Wise County portion here shortly as that moves out. But they have updated it, saying that 60 mile per hour winds are the main risk and not the 60 to 70 like we were seeing just a short time ago. So this looks like it's fortunately on a weakening trend. We don't want to get too excited quite yet just because we're not out of the woods. But right now, that's some good news that it's not the 65 to 70 mile per hour winds that we were watching here just a little bit ago, like we saw in Decatur, where we saw those confirmed reports just a short time ago of that. We're going to go back to the TDOW terminal Doppler radar, kind of just check out the velocity in that area and just see if there's anything to be watching. Maybe a little elevated rotation just to the southwest of Pilot Point. But like we said, this isn't the same kind of alarming signature like we saw just a little bit ago, and this was northwest to southeast, and it quickly came back up. Let's go back to the Fort Worth site. And nothing new on the wire. That's some good news. Fortunately for the Tarrant County storm, I want to look at the radar just to confirm this. So Fort Worth, there might be some gusty winds, but let's go back a couple scans here and show you. It looks like the worst of it is going to be moving into the Grapevine area shortly, but this one's also on a weakening trend. So this one's not going to be producing the 65 to roughly 70 mile per hour winds like we were seeing that potential threat just a little bit ago. In fact, the community of Joshua and Godley and Briar Oaks to the south, where you're included in this, they may trim this down here shortly just because like the radar is showing, there's just not a whole lot in that area. So that's just probably going to be 40 mile per hour winds with those showers and thunderstorms in that area. Eventually we're going to be watching this area near Aledo and Crescent and Granbury, because this is new development that might eventually try and strengthen as it basically backtrails or backbuilds, behind the main or first area that we were watching just a short time ago. So let's see what that newest report was. Amateur radio, wind gusts of 71 mile per hour was recorded 3 miles west of Whitesboro. And that was in Cook County. So there's some gusty winds with this system. That is for sure. All right, so also trying to get that system to work behind the scenes. Not quite sure why. I guess maybe the server that connects the radar data is having some issues, unfortunately. We're going to see if we can try and get that back up and running. But for now, we're going to be using just our old faithful radar. This one's never had any sort of problems, so... Behind the scenes, let's see, continue severe thunderstorm watch. Okay, so I do believe that they may be trimming off the watch areas that were further to the west. Okay, that actually makes sense, just because that first watch that was for our western counties went until 6 in the morning. Clearly, 6 a.m. has arrived, so that area is going to be trimmed off. The areas that are in a watch until 9 o'clock are going to be in effect until 9 o'clock or until this system passes. So, yeah, and good news there. We mentioned just a second ago we thought that Tarrant County storm was kind of dying off here. And the Weather Service is in agreement. They went ahead and they're dropping the warning for Tarrant and Johnson County. So there's some good news there. Fortunately, these are on a weakening trend, but notice the environment it is headed into. So don't get too excited quite yet that this is over. We are not out of the woods yet. In fact, for some of our eastern counties, it wouldn't surprise me if they go ahead and issue an additional watch in some of our eastern counties and just outside of our coverage area. In fact, just outside of our coverage area into the Arklatex region, that area, which we don't cover, needs to be ready for the potential for some tornado watches and some potentially high-end severe weather well off into parts of Arkansas and Louisiana later today, where there is a potential. In fact, do I actually have... Okay, I do. I forgot I actually had that. Let's see if it loads in. This is an old place file to this. We'll zoom out. We'll show you the risk for today for the Arklatex region. This does include Memphis. So while there's nothing going on here, real quick, we'll show you. Little Rock is included in some of the more intense risks. Shreveport, Monroe, Greenwood, and Memphis. If you know anyone on spring break in these areas, if you know anyone who lives in these areas, in that red shaded area, that is a moderate 4 out of 5 risk for storms today from the same system moving through DFW now. So as this system leaves our area and pushes into Arklatex and closer to Arkansas, Louisiana, and Tennessee, this is going to produce maybe some nasty and higher and severe weather out there. So we'll get this out of our area by this morning, but if you know anyone in those areas I just showed just a little bit ago, let them know there's the potential for a severe weather event in the southeast, and that does include the Memphis area, closer to Little Rock, and some of those areas out there. But for now, let's go back to the radar here in DFW. Yeah, not a whole lot going on right now. That's some very good news. In fact, the winds are honestly not that impressive in Denton. So you're likely getting gusty winds, but it is not the 70-mile-per-hour winds that we saw here just a little bit ago that this was capable of. In fact, we're scanning the skies right now, and there's really not a whole lot above 47 knots right now. Um, so a bunch of sub-severe winds. So we'll be watching. It is on a weakening trend. I haven't actually had time to look at the latest HRRR, but we'll go back. We'll look at that behind the scenes and see if it was saying what it was saying earlier. One of the things that we were going to watch with this was one of the short range models was suggesting that what happened would happen, and then eventually, as storms kind of went through a weakening phase, they would potentially kind of pulse back up. So I want to see if that's still the trend with this, or if there's going to be additional activity to watch with its prediction. Okay, well, I don't believe that. Don't believe that latest run was very good. Okay, so there might be, the latest trends are showing maybe some additional activity, and that would be what's in the Alito area, but really the models are not aligning up with exactly what happened. So this is the beauty of forecasting. Sometimes the models are really, really good, and sometimes the models are off a little bit, so you have to kind of backtrack and adapt to that. All right, so we're gonna leave the radar looped. I'm gonna take a quick break real quick and get a glass of water just because there is not a whole lot going on right now in the area. So this is not gonna be like our live channel. This is just gonna be a loop. And if needed, I'm gonna jump back on to coverage here, but I'm gonna take a quick break.
severe thunderstorm warning for northern Johnson and Tarrant counties is canceled. The storms which prompted the warning have weakened below severe limits. Therefore, the warning has been canceled. However, gusty winds and heavy rain are still possible with these thunderstorms. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. The severe thunderstorm warning for Denton, southeastern Cook, and southwestern Grayson counties will expire at 6:15 a.m. Central Daylight Time. The storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, gusty winds are still possible with this thunderstorm. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. A severe thunderstorm watch also remains in effect until 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. The current time is 6:10 a.m. Central Daylight Time. You are listening to NOAA All Hazards Radio, the voice of the National Weather Service, station KAC 56, serving the Dallas-Fort Worth listening area. The severe thunderstorm warning for northern Johnson and Tarrant counties is canceled. The storms which prompted the warning have weakened below severe limits. Therefore, the warning has been canceled. However, gusty winds and heavy rain are still possible with these thunderstorms. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. The severe thunderstorm warning for Denton, southeastern Cook, and southwestern Grayson counties will expire at 6:15 a.m. Central Daylight Time. The storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, gusty winds are still possible with this thunderstorm. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. A severe thunderstorm watch also remains in effect until 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. The current time is 6:11 a.m. Central Daylight Time. You are listening to NOAA All Hazards Radio, the voice of the National Weather Service, station KAC 56, serving the Dallas-Fort Worth listening area. The severe thunderstorm warning for northern Johnson and Tarrant counties is canceled. The storms which prompted the warning have weakened below severe limits. Therefore, the warning has been canceled. However, gusty winds and heavy rain are still possible with these thunderstorms. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. The severe thunderstorm warning for Denton, southeastern Cook, and southwestern Grayson counties will expire at 6:15 a.m. Central Daylight Time. The storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, gusty winds are still possible with this thunderstorm. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. A severe thunderstorm watch also remains in effect until 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. The current time is 6:12 a.m. Central Daylight Time. You are listening to NOAA All Hazards Radio, the voice of the National Weather Service, station KAC 56, serving the Dallas-Fort Worth listening area. The severe thunderstorm warning for northern Johnson and Tarrant counties is canceled. The storms which prompted the warning have weakened below severe limits. Therefore, the warning has been canceled. However, gusty winds and heavy rain are still possible with these thunderstorms. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. The severe thunderstorm warning for Denton, southeastern Cook, and southwestern Grayson counties will expire at 6:15 a.m. Central Daylight Time. The storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, gusty winds are still possible with this thunderstorm. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. A severe thunderstorm watch also remains in effect until 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. Severe thunderstorm watch number 74 remains in effect until 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for the following counties in Texas: Collin, Dallas, Denton, Ellis, Hunt, Kaufman, Rockwall, and Tarrant. Remember, a severe thunderstorm watch means the conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather, including large hail and damaging winds, in and close to the watch area. While severe weather may not be imminent, persons should remain alert for rapidly changing weather conditions and listen for later statements and possible warnings. Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio, commercial radio and television outlets, or internet sources for the latest severe weather information. The current time is 6:14 a.m. Central Daylight Time. You are listening to NOAA All Hazards Radio, the voice of the National Weather Service, station KAC 56, serving the Dallas-Fort Worth listening area. The severe thunderstorm warning for Denton, southeastern Cook, and southwestern Grayson counties will expire at 6:15 a.m. Central Daylight Time. The storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, gusty winds are still possible with this thunderstorm. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. A severe thunderstorm watch also remains in effect until 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. The current time is 6:15 a.m. Central Daylight Time. You are listening to NOAA All Hazards Radio, the voice of the National Weather Service, station KAC 56, serving the Dallas-Fort Worth listening area. The severe thunderstorm warning for Denton, southeastern Cook, and southwestern Grayson counties will expire at 6:15 a.m. Central Daylight Time. The storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, gusty winds are still possible with this thunderstorm. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. A severe thunderstorm watch also remains in effect until 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. The current time is 6:16 a.m. Central Daylight Time. You are listening to NOAA All Hazards Radio, the voice of the National Weather Service, station KAC 56, serving the Dallas-Fort Worth listening area. The severe thunderstorm warning for Denton, southeastern Cook, and southwestern Grayson counties will expire at 6:15 a.m. Central Daylight Time. The storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, gusty winds are still possible with this thunderstorm. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. A severe thunderstorm watch also remains in effect until 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time for north central Texas. The current time is 6:17 a.m. Central Daylight Time. You are listening to NOAA All Hazards Radio, the voice of the National Weather Service, station KAC 56, serving the Dallas-Fort Worth listening area. The following reports of weather temperature and wind were made at 6 a.m. DFW Airport, thunder, 74, dew point 67, relative humidity 78%, wind south at 15, pressure 29.70 inches and rising. Dallas Love Field, cloudy, 75, south at 9, gusting to 21. Fort Worth Meacham, a thunderstorm, 64, west at 14, gusting to 38. Arlington, thunder, 75, south at 8, gusting to 21. McKinney, cloudy, 74, south at 16. Denton, a thunderstorm, 67, west at 29, gusting to 39. Elsewhere around the region, Wichita Falls, cloudy, 50, northeast at 15. Abilene, cloudy, 54, northwest at 14. Waco, mostly cloudy, 70, south at 14. Tyler, cloudy, 74, south at 15, gusting to 26. Once again at 6 a.m., DFW Airport, thunder, 74, south at 15. The hazardous weather outlook through tonight for North Texas. Increasing storm coverage is expected along and ahead of a cold front tonight into Friday morning. Large hail and damaging winds will be the main threats across mainly western portions of north and central Texas. There is a chance of